Every day, we walk through a landscape of subtle, invisible influence. Every interaction holds the potential for manipulation, often happening right in front of us. The most effective control doesn't come from aggression or force. It comes from identifying the baseline psychological vulnerabilities we all share as humans and quietly using them as leverage. If you look closely at your own daily conversations, you'll find moments where your reactions were engineered by someone else, completely without your knowledge. The first stage of this dynamic relies on a passive, almost harmless-looking form of deception. Control starts by addressing the one thing that stops most manipulation, our natural instinct to doubt what sounds too good to be true. When someone wants you to buy into a completely fabricated story, their immediate hurdle is your innate lie detection reflex. The deceilant brain is naturally wired to scrutinize details that align a little too perfectly. A story without friction triggers our logical defenses. To counter this, a calculated deception includes a highly embarrassing, imperfect detail about the storyteller. This flaw serves as a distraction. By focusing on the teller's discomfort, the brain stops looking for inconsistencies in the story itself. By voluntarily offering up a moment of self-deprecation, the storyteller shifts your focus. You stop analyzing the facts of the story and instead process their apparent vulnerability. When someone presents a version of themselves that feels unpolished or even pathetic, it overrides the expectation of a calculated lie. The fabrication isn't just heard, it's accepted as a genuine confession. Building rapport is only the first step. The second phase involves retaining the upper hand during moments of clear error. Imagine a common scenario. Someone keeps you waiting. You are on time, they are late. Logically, you hold the power in this interaction, and your frustration is entirely justified. A normal response from the late party is to apologize. But from a purely strategic standpoint, simply saying "I'm sorry" acknowledges guilt and solidifies their subordinate position in that very moment. Instead of apologizing, a manipulator will bypass guilt entirely by saying, "Thank you for your patience." Those 5 words redirect the energy of the room. The manipulator shifts from a position of defensive guilt to one of generous observation. By framing the delay around your reaction rather than their failure, they effectively strip you of your social permission to be angry. They have taken their own mistake and repackaged it into an opportunity to praise your character. You are now cornered by politeness. Your rightful frustration is suppressed, replaced involuntarily by a forced sense of virtue. You're being complimented, so you must act graciously. This is an active, deliberate neutralization of your personal agency, forcing you to accept their flaw without holding them accountable. While these verbal shifts are effective, there is an even more direct way to halt an interaction. When conversational tactics aren't enough to stop someone from speaking, the tactic shifts from psychological subtlety to a primal, physical disruption. If a manipulator wants to instantly shut someone's mouth, they lock their eyes directly onto the speaker's forehead. We rely heavily on eye contact for social feedback. Moving that focal point just an inch upward removes that feedback, creating a deeply unnerving, freezing effect on the human brain. Observation shows that nearly every time the speaker is derailed, the confusion is a physiological response to a broken social cue. This sudden break forcibly short-circuits their thought process. They lose their train of thought and simply stop talking. The stare forces the speaker inward, turning their own social anxiety into the very weapon used to silence them. If you review your own memories, it is highly likely you have been on the receiving end of these tactics. You have bought the flawed lie, accepted the false praise, and stopped mid-sentence, entirely unaware of the invisible strings controlling your reactions. Keep this understanding as a personal tool of defense. Save these insights for your own awareness, but be extremely careful about who you share them with. Broadcasting these mechanisms exposes our collective vulnerabilities. Every time these tactics are shared publicly, it potentially arms more people with the tools to bypass your defenses. The choice is yours. You can continue to uncover the mechanics of human influence, or you can step back and remain blind to the games being played around you.